is going on, everybody? We are live for episode 30. We made it. Hold on, let's switch over to picture. Yo, what's going on though? Like, what's up? Is Shakur ducking? Is my man Shakur fearless? Shakur Stevenson ducking? We got to talk about this. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Boxing Fanatico Live. I hope you guys enjoy the show. We have hit the dirty 30. Yes, we did. And actually, my fault. What am I doing? Why is oh man, see, I'm already slipping. I need Hashim up here ASAP. Hold on. Let me pop this chat out real quick. Let me make sure I get this going correctly. And I'll make sure that he gets his flowers because my man was in here once again immediately, which I love. Thank you so much. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see, where is it? There we go. We got Hashim with the Let's Go champ to start it off. And of course, we got to start the show off with Michael Buffer, because if we don't start it off with Michael Buffer, then what are we doing, right? Is there even a show? That's really what the question. Is there even a show if we don't start it off with Michael Buffer? Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get it.
Episode 30, the Dirty 30, like my man Gridley98 says. Yes, we finally made it. I didn't know if it was even possible. Would I be able to sustain doing these live streams? We found a good rhythm, a good flow, a good time slot that makes perfect sense for you guys to come in, for you guys for the channel to continue to evolve. So I'm having a blast. Thank you so much, guys. We have made it at episode 30 and we're shooting for episode 50. And then after episode 50, we shooting for episode 100 because we built like that over here at Boxing Fanatico Live. Prince, what's going on, brother? My man said, yo, Adrian Dones, Shakur ain't never ducking Haney. What's up, Fanatico? How you doing? Okay, let's see. Let's talk about this. Just got out the pool. Crazy month of boxing lined up. That is 100% true because this month, we have entered, by the way, guys, we have entered the prestigious month of July, where we will get Inoue versus Stephen Fulton, and we're going to get the creme de la creme. We're going to get Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence Jr. You can't get any better than that. You can't get any higher than that. You can't get any more crazy than that. That is the fight of this day and age of modern boxing. That is the fight that everyone wants, and that is the fight that everyone needs, and that's the fight that we're gonna get. So this month is crazy. I can't even believe it. The cool thing about that fight too is that we're gonna almost guarantee we're gonna get another one once this fight is over. We're guaranteed to get another one because they both have rematch clauses, and I guarantee you they're just one like fight away from getting undisputed. They're going to activate or initiate their rematch clause. Y'all like the stream? Yes, guys, if you're in here and you haven't hit the like, please hit the like. We're about to start this stream. We're about to talk something really important. Is Shakur Stevenson ducking Devin Haney? Yo, what's good, fam? What's going on, Chill Will? This Yendez, by the way, trying not to miss these streams. Keep my earbuds on. All right, cool. Oh, wait. Now if we get likes, I'm seeing things. What's going on with that? How come I could see little party stuff coming up on the chat? I never seen that before. Is that a new feature? I've never seen that before. That's a new feature. Anyways, quickly before we start talking about this, of course we had the fights that happened over the weekend. Jared Anderson fighting Martin. He showed that there's still some greenness there, some things that need to be tightened up, but it was still a good showing by him. It was still a good performance in terms of him, going out there and showing that he's willing to kind of get into that battle because he's usually always dominated everybody he's ever fought. So this was actually good. I like to see when people get put in these positions. It's like seeing Mayweather versus Jose Luis Castillo and versus Maidana. It's an important thing. We always want to see, how do they react? What do they do? Right. And so it was good to see how he reacted there. But now let's talk about Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. This is the big thing, guys, on Twitter. Everybody's talking about this negotiation. And therein lies the problem. When I've stated in one of my videos from the past that silence when it comes to negotiation is deafening. And when I say that, what I mean is silence speaks volumes in comparison to things being put in the public eye. When things are in the public eye, they're less likely to be done. When Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. finally agreed to fight, we weren't hearing anything about that negotiation because it was really happening. And when I mean it was really happening, I mean it was being, both parties wanted it to happen. It was slowly being moved forward behind closed doors. And then when it was finally made, that's when we heard about the fight. When we were hearing about the fight and Terrence Crawford making a video with a cell phone talking about these are the reasons I need a little bit more money, or the split wasn't whatever. When we're hearing that stuff, the fight doesn't get made. The fight is not getting made. What's happening is political posturing. That's all that's happening. So when we're hearing about the negotiations, there is already problems, because we're not supposed to hear about the negotiations if they truly want to make this fight happen. On both sides, we're not supposed to be hearing about it. And for us, like, on here on YouTube or in social media, to pretend that we even know the inner workings of what actually happens between two people coming together to make a fight will be false, because we legitimately don't know. I feel like there's too many people that feel that they, from the internet, they can kind of dictate what's going on and state, hey, look, this guy's ducking because in the contract stipulation, because of this and that. And we don't know what's happening. There's a lot of things that we never see because nobody talks about it. There's a lot of different stipulations that we never see because nobody talks about it. Does it mean that it isn't in the contract? No, but they're just not talking about it. But there's a thing that gives me pause whenever I hear something like this come out without a fight being made. Now, if the fight was made and they're like, hey, look, 25-75 split, then I'm like, okay, that's the split. It doesn't look great for Shakur, but he gets a chance to become undisputed, and that's a legacy. But nah, that's not what we're hearing. What we're hearing is he don't want the split of 25-75, and that's putting a hold to the fight. That's what we're hearing. So that's my first thoughts on it, and I'm going to go into my part two, which is, do I think that Shakur Stevenson is ducking? Let me see what you guys have to say. Anderson stayed with those hands down a lot at least Saturday. Yeah, I mean, that's his style, right? He got that slick. A lot of slick fighters do that, right? They keep their hands down. That's a baiting style. That's a comfort style, right? Because if you could get fatigued with just keeping your hands up all the time. So there's a lot of reasons why boxers do it, but if he needs to be able to adjust, right? So it's a learning experience that a lot of people are going to go through. And to me, this is a good learning experience for him. He might go back into the lab and be like, listen, there's got to be moments where I switch it up, right? It's not always going to work when it's not always going to be working. There's fighters that could win when it's always working. But then there's fighters that can't win when it ain't working, right? Floyd Mayweather is a perfect example of fighters who could win when it is working and when it ain't working because of his ability to adjust. And I think that adjusting is probably the most important thing in boxing, period. That's the most important thing overall. Your ability to adjust is what's going to determine your longevity in terms of your win-loss record, in terms of how good you're going to be, in terms of your skill ceiling or the heights that you can reach in boxing. I think the ability to adjust is the most important thing, because there are people that are magnificent in what they do, that they're like the top level of like throwing volume punches, or the top level of angles, or the top level of all this stuff. So they're really hard to beat doing that. But every once in a while, you hit this wall where somebody could figure you out, and now you have to have something else in the chamber to be able to deal with that new problem. And if you can do that, then to me, it shows that you're this super high level fighter that is going to be tough to beat, because you could kind of figure out what to do in moments where the thing that you like to do isn't the thing that's working right now. And Floyd Mayweather has always been the perfect example of that. He was, to me, the master of adjustments. I would consider Floyd the best ever in terms of adjustments. Not the best ever overall, but the best ever in terms of adjustments. Other fighters, when things weren't working, and they were the greatest at doing their thing, but when it ain't work, it didn't work, right? Same thing that happened with, Muhammad Ali or whatever. When it didn't work for him, it just didn't work. Even though Muhammad Ali is one of the greatest of all time, when it didn't work, it didn't work. With Floyd Mayweather, when it didn't work, he always found a different way. That's why I say he's the master of the best ever in terms of adjustments. Very specific. I think dudes need to take things the way Floyd did with Oscar. He took a haircut, but knew if he won that fight, he would never be the B-side again. Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Now, here's the thing. Do I think that Shakur Stevenson is ducking Devin Haney? It's tough. It's tough to say. Part of me wants to say, yes, he is. And that part of me is because legacy, right? Think about legacy. What's your legacy going to be, right? Do you want to say that you beat Devin Haney, you got the belts, and you the undisputed champion? Or do you want, money, right? But that's a foolish position, because I don't know how that works. I don't know what the breakdown is. I don't know his management team and his top rank and how they get, who's going to get money, how that's going to happen. I don't know how much, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's still their livelihood, right? So am I being, naive to just automatically go, yeah, he's ducking because legacy, right? I feel like it's easy to say legacy from the couch, but it ain't easy when you're in the sport. When you're in the sport, to look at it and be like, yo, this is a legacy move. That's not a legacy move. It's harder because we could only look at it through the fans' perspective. We do not know what it feels like to go through that negotiation process. And it's a negotiation process. That's why it's called negotiating, right? That's like if you were to go to a car dealership and they gave you one price, and then you said, okay, cool, I'm paying that one price. You could have had that car for way less. You still want the car. You could have had it for way less. But if you just say, hey, like the first price they tell you, you go, yep, that's the price. I want it for that price, the $150,000. Let me get it for $150,000. The sticker price, you're cutting yourself short. So I think he's trying to get a decent amount out of it. I do believe that 25% is low, right? You could actually also flip this, right? There's a possibility that you could flip this in the argument and be like, hey, maybe Devin Haney's team doesn't want to fight Shakur, so they gave him such a low offer. Because even Devin Haney didn't get a 25% split. Right? So if we look at Devin Haney versus Kambosos, when Devin Haney and themselves and their team said, yo, Kambosos don't want the fight, he didn't think I was going to take that amount of money because the purse split was so egregious, but we still took it. But look at what the purse split was when it was egregious. Look at what the purse split was when it was actually egregious. Let me pull it up here so you guys can see. The purse split was 70-30 This was for the first fight. Fight date June 4th at the Marvel Stadium in Melbourne. This was the first fight. They had a guaranteed purse. Devin Haney had $2.8 million. George Kambosos had $10 million. And the pay-per-view share was 70-30. So when Devin Haney himself was saying, Kambosos don't want the fight, they didn't think I was going to take a 70-30, and I took a 70-30. They thought that they were going to try to price themselves out, but I'm not letting them get away. Devin Haney knew he needed to win those titles, and this was his opportunity. If he said no to this, that Kambosos wanted him to say no to this. And if he would have said no to this, Kambosos could have easily been like, hey, look, he ducked, whatever. If he says yes, they go, oh, well, if we lose, we lose, but we're getting a big percentage out of this, so whatever. We'll take the fight. This is our insurance policy if we lose. Right? So you come from a situation where you got a 70-30 split, and you were like, yo, they trying to price themselves out, but I'm not gonna let that win. I'm gonna still fight for the belts. And then you flip it around and you go and ask Shakur Stevenson to take 25% while you take 75%. You don't think that if in their minds they already know that 70-30 was a price out thing, that a 75-25 is not a price out thing too? And the moment Shakur said no, it went public. The moment Shakur said, nah, let's keep talking about this. Maybe we could get this a little bit higher. It went public. So people think that when someone says you could do anything in the contract, you could put anything in the contract, and like it could be the most egregious thing ever, and it could be the craziest thing. Oh, you can't lose weight before this time. You could only have this much weight. You could do this. You can't do that. You're only getting this much money. You're only doing that. And those things are strategies for a lot of people to make someone say, heck no, I'm not going to fight you under those circumstances. What are you talking about? Right? So you could make the argument that, hey, Devin Haney's team is trying to duck by, but they're trying to duck in a way where they're doing the whole, he didn't agree. Meanwhile, they're putting a crazy contract that they know is crazy, because when Kambosos did it, they were saying it was crazy. And Kambosos didn't even do it as bad as they're doing it right now. So that's why, to me, it's tough. It's tough in so many different ways. A part of me does feel that Shakur is ducking. But the reason that I feel that is because I'm looking at it through the fan's perspective. I'm not looking at it through the fighter negotiation, promoter negotiation, production and team and all this stuff. I'm not looking at it through that perspective. I'm looking at it through this one lens of, I want Shakur to be undisputed. I want Shakur to fight for undisputed. And Devin Haney offered him an opportunity to do that. Therefore, he's ducking. But is Devin Haney really the one that's ducking? But he's ducking in a political way? Is the negotiations even over? To me, it doesn't bode well when we hear about it. When they put it out there, the moment something happens, it's just like when Mayweather and Bob Arum and Manny Pacquiao, I don't know if a lot of you remember this, but they went into they went into this like mediator, and it was like a judge that was mediating the contract negotiations between the two, because in 2010 they were really pushing to get this fight. Floyd Mayweather was there, they attended, Bob Arum was there, and they tried to get them to come to an agreement so that the fight could happen. And the moment that it ended, the mediator said, hey, look, there's a gag order on this so it doesn't leak out. Don't say nothing. Don't talk about it. Just, let's continue this negotiation further down the line. No, the moment Bob Arum got out of there, he started telling everybody about it and how crazy it was, and that, Manny's not going to do any of the drug tests and all this stuff. And it's crazy that they even asked about this. How dare they ask about this? Right? So what does that tell you? Bob Arum doesn't want the fight. Because if he wanted the fight, he would agree to the gag order and he would continue to negotiate. But instead, It's a political play. So we don't know. I say all of that to say this. We just don't know what's a power move, what's a political move, what's ducking, what's not. We don't really know. We don't. Part of me wants to say he is ducking, but part of me wants to say, is he ducking because I'm just a fan, or is he ducking, or is he actually just negotiating, but somebody just opened their big mouth? I want to know what you guys think. Let's go ahead and switch over to
Ladies and gentlemen,
I keep forgetting to take this off. It's all good. It's all good. We always appreciate you, Michael Buffer. All right, let's pull this up here, see what you guys are talking about. By the way, all those likes and stuff and the hearts and the stuff, I've never seen that before. I don't know. I've never, let me know, guys, is that new? And by the way, guys, hit the like if you haven't. We got a bunch of you in here. I would love to see those likes go up, please. All right, let's go into the comments section here. Prince, fact, Shakur wins that easy. He's good. The money will come. If they fought, I do have Shakur winning that fight. I do have him winning that fight. I think Shakur should take the 25%. Devin took a similar cut for the Cambosis. Yeah, but it's ironic that he took that cut for the Cambosis while saying, hey, Cambosis is trying to price himself out, and I ain't going to let him do it. But then he offers 25%. To me, that means in his mind, he knows that 25% could be a price out. He knows that that's a price out. He knows that if anyone ever offered him 25%, he'll be like, you trying to price yourself out. He knows that a 25% is a price out strategy. He knows that. He knows that. Completely agree with Mayweather being the best at adjusting. Having said that, I still believe he would have lost a close decision to Pac in 2008, 2009, but Floyd adjusts and wins the two rematches. I don't know. Because we've seen Manny Pacquiao get outboxed by Eric Morales before he fought Floyd Mayweather, right? We've seen him have trouble with a counterpuncher like Juan Manuel Marquez. The best that we've seen Manny Pacquiao do is normally with other bully fighters, because to me, Manny was the greatest bully of all time in terms of in the ring, not in a negative connotation, and just like his ability to. You're not going to outpunch him. You're not going to throw more power shots to him. You're not going to overwhelm him. You're not going to outspeed him. You're not going to out-angle him. So if you're a bully fighter and that's your thing, he's going to out-bully you because he's one of the greatest bully fighters of all time. So I think he was great at doing that. But I do think he was lacking whenever he came up against somebody who had some sort of like an ability to box and do different things and give him different like looks and stuff like that. That's where he kind of had trouble. And this was before he got knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez. He had trouble in all four fights with Juan Manuel Marquez with an exclamation mark at the end by getting counterpunched by Marquez to oblivion, right? When he was knocked out cold. And then he had like a lot of trouble with Eric Morales, where he actually lost that fight. He did good in the rematch, but he had a lot of trouble. He was outboxed in that first fight with Eric Morales. So I think he has trouble back then, even back then with fighters that were boxers. But he thrived with other, puncher, pressure fighters because he was the best pressure fighter. So he thrived with that. But I think that with Mayweather being the best in that arena in terms of being a counterpuncher, a good boxer, I think Floyd would have won even back in 2010, which is 2010 is the more realistic time frame where that fight was about to happen. It was like a last minute pullout by Top Rank, but it was almost about to happen in 2010. And even then, Haney had a belt with valid wins inside the top 15. Shakur doesn't have that. Oh, so you're saying that Shakur doesn't have that at 135, but he did it at 127. He did it at 130. He's a divisional champ. So, yeah, he didn't do it at 135, but he proved that he's a world beater, right? Like, he proved that he could beat people at the top in the lower divisions. I mean, 130 to 135, that's only 5 pounds, right? But I get what you're saying. But you could also, arguments could be made in any direction. Devin Haney didn't necessarily win the WBC belt. He was handed the WBC belt. He didn't necessarily win it. So an argument could be made in that direction. Now, I do have I always have to give like there's this asterisk, right? When I talk about Shakur, he's my favorite fighter. But it's not keeping me from being honest in the sense that I just want to see that fight as a fan. But I can't pretend as a guy that's doing, on YouTube Live right now, he's ducking, I know for sure. Like, that's one of the things that has turned me off from other people on social media when they talk about boxing, right? Is that they talk as if they know what's going on when really no one know. We don't know. We really don't know. We don't know what's going on contractually. We don't know what's going on with negotiations. And history has shown us that before things are signed, when we know about it, that does not bode well for the fight actually being made. That means somebody doesn't really want the fight to happen. Because when you really want the fight to happen, you get a surprise announcement type situation with like an inside source in terms of like a Michael Benson or one of those like a Dan Raphael's, those high level inside sources breaking the news that there's talks about this fight that's going to happen in this date. And then a few days later or a week later, we get an announcement. We don't get the actual fighters going back and forth saying this and that and somebody saying, oh, you're ducking here and you're ducking there. When that was happening with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, we weren't getting the fight. It was only when it finally calmed down and we weren't hearing anything from them that the fight happened. That's why I always say in boxing, especially with negotiations and contracts and all that, silence is deafening. Silence speaks volumes or is louder than, when they're actually talking and in social media arguing about fighting each other. Yeah, Mayweather took a 30% cut on the De La Hoya fight. Look, even Mayweather took 30%. This just shows you how old. Look, this is Oscar De La Hoya. He purposely gave a 30% cut to Mayweather so Mayweather could say no. And Mayweather said, nah, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to bet on myself. But De La Hoya knew that 30% was a price out number. It was like, if he says no, then we can say we offered him the fight and he said no. But if he says yes, then we leave with mad money. And it's an insurance policy for if we lose. So we win either way. So either he says yes, and we get the money, or he says no, and we get the politics on our side. And that was back in 2007. If you adjust for inflation and all that, 30% was considered a price out contract. But now 25% is not a price out, is not somebody actually trying to price themselves out. 25% is peanuts. Like, people don't get 25% ever. Like, that's not done ever. Nobody offers nobody 25%. That's low. Like, even the superstar boxer fighting a nobody doesn't offer them 25%. It's usually at least 30%. But people want Shakur to say yes to 25%. Like, we pay his bills and we know about the structure in terms of how the money is divided, and we know about his lifestyle. We know all this stuff. We don't know. And that's his job. Right? That's his job. He might be willing to take a low offer, but 25% is crazy low. It's crazy low. De La Hoya ain't even offered that to Floyd. And De La Hoya didn't want to fight Floyd. That should tell you something. Back in 2007. These guys gonna fight each other. These guys not gonna fight each other. LOL. Why would they? 5 years from now, maybe can we talk about something else? What else do you want to talk about? I think this is like the most important thing right now in boxing, in terms of the boxing conversation. 5 years from now, they'll all probably be at 136. At 136. And Shakur and Haney will be at 130. At 30. What? Oh, we'll be 30. At 136. You mean at 147? Or 140? Because right now they're at 135. 136 is not a weight. Oh, there we go. 147. Yeah. Yeah, they might be. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. Shakur or Tank? I have Shakur winning that fight. I mean, a lot of people, I think people get mesmerized by knockouts. Knockouts is very mesmerizing. So people look at knockouts and then they say, oh, this guy must be able to beat, a Shakur because he knocks people out, right? But Shakur has fought much tougher competition. Yes. Has Tank fought a famous fighter? Yes. Has Tank fought for the world title? No. He's fought for the regular title, but he hasn't fought for the world official super titles. Shakur Stevenson has fought for the world official super titles. Whatever the top title is, Shakur has fought for those titles. He's not fought for the secondary titles. He's not fought for the regular titles. If Tank was much better than Shakur, then why wouldn't Tank just fight for the official belts? Why would he go for the regular belts? Because the regular belts just lets him pick and choose who he wants to fight. That's what it is. The regular belt lets him pick and choose who he wants to fight. He doesn't have to fight anybody if he doesn't want to fight them. So even though people will argue, oh, Tank has done more financially, he's done more than anybody, right? Maybe only second to Canelo Alvarez, but he's done more than anybody financially, money-wise, and finding a route to making a million plus pay-per-view buys in this day and age, which seemed almost impossible until they pulled that off. Money-wise, he's done his thing. In terms of actually beating the top-level competition, he has not done that better than Shakur, who has fought in the divisions and in the rankings for the official belts. So in my opinion, Shakur has tested himself way more than Tank. So if Shakur and Tank were to fight, I would pick Shakur to win. Just off of that alone. But then obviously you break down the skill and all of this stuff. They both skillful. They both got a lot of moving parts. They both got the special effects and all that stuff. But I think Shakur got a little bit more in terms of diversity in his tool set than Tank. I think Tank is really good at figuring out the one shot to take you out. But I think Shakur is much more diverse in his tool set, and it's going to be difficult to place that shot perfectly against Shakur Stevenson. And if Tank can't place that shot, it's like he banks his entire style on that shot's going to take you out. That's a very bold and a very confident style, but he bases his entire style on that. That's going to take you out. That's why he normally gets hit, or he lets people punch, or he punches so very seldomly in his fights, because he's looking for that one shot to take you out. Shakur need to stay fighting guys with obscure foreign names, because we know he's not taking that pay cut. Shakur ain't Kambosos. Kambosos gave Devin Haney the pay cut, though. It was the other way around. My man, Angry Casual Fan, said Buddy McGirt was right about Shakur. He's a protected fighter. But how's he a protected fighter? If he fought for the world titles at both 127 and 127, 126, and 130. He fought for the top belts. He didn't fight for the regular belts. He fought for the top belt. So how that makes him protected? And then he moved up to the 135 division. Literally the most beast division in boxing. I don't see how that makes him a protected fighter. How does that make him a protected fighter? Not only that, he doesn't have that many wins. He's like the third or fourth fastest to a world title. That's not something you do when you're trying to protect the fighter. When you're trying to protect the fighter, they fight nobodies for a long time. He's not protected in any way, shape, or form. He's actually being fast forward. He's fighting these high-level fights way before anyone in his position in terms of the amount of wins he has would be fighting these fights. He's like literally the opposite of being protected. He's fast forward. He's just like Loma. Fast forward. Just like they fast forward Loma, he's being fast forward. Just the same way they did Loma. They're doing him. He like the fourth fastest to make it to a world title. Like the fourth fastest. There's no way he's being protected. Facts is Floyd didn't let me make sure you guys okay, cool. Facts is Floyd didn't fight his legacy fight when it mattered most. Spence Crawford will surpass him. Facts is Floyd didn't fight his legacy fight when it mattered most. What do you mean? His fight with Manny Pacquiao? Is that what you're referring to? Because one thing that I would say is it takes two to tango in boxing. Floyd could want so badly to fight you, but if the other party doesn't want to fight you, you can't put that just on Floyd Mayweather. He can't take you hostage and force you to fight him. For years, and this is one of the things that was annoying when I was growing up. For years, they blamed Floyd for the fight not happening, even though Floyd agreed to a 50-50 split. That's what they thought he wouldn't agree to, because he made more money per pay-per-view than Manny Pacquiao. They were like, oh, he would never agree to a 50-50. They sent him a 50-50 contract, and he agreed. The only reason that fight got called off in 2010 when it was supposed to happen was because Bob Arum went back into the contract that they sent to Floyd, that Floyd agreed to and said, let's go. He went back into the contract and said, oh, wait. But we don't want this whole blood testing situation. And that's when it went south. That's when it went south. And like, are you like, that aged like wine for Floyd, in my opinion. Because back then, people were like, if you're really the man, just fight him without drug testing him. It's like, what? Why? Why would he do that? That's kind of dumb. Like, this is the problem with the disconnection between the fan and the fighters. We don't really care about the fighters. It's almost like this gladiator thing where, like, we want them to just go into a pit with a lion, and if the lion chewed them up, it was entertaining, right? Like, we look at them as modern day gladiators where we have very little empathy for what's going on with human beings, because they're professional fighters. They're here to entertain us, so we don't really care. But what's the point of having him fight Manny Pacquiao without drug testing? It's not to say that Manny's doing anything, but just do the drug testing. That's it. So I didn't think that was just Floyd backing out. That was Bob Arum who said, I don't want to do the drug test. So really, the person who backed out wasn't even Manny or Floyd. It was Top Rank at the time. It was Top Rank at the time. So it takes two to tango. We can't put that on Floyd and be like, it's Floyd messed up his legacy because Floyd didn't fight. Floyd don't control everything. Man, I've seen people say, yo, Floyd should have fought Shane Mosley. He been called out Shane Mosley. It's the infamous video is on YouTube. Just go check. When they asked Shane Mosley about it, he said his tooth hurt. He had to go to the dentist, so he doesn't want to fight Floyd. And they're like, why? He's like, yeah, I'm not, my tooth is a little wiggly. I might need dentures. I can't fight Floyd. They asked Floyd, who you want? I want Casazu. I want Oscar De La Hoya. I will go up to 154. I heard that Oscar's coming down to 154. I'm going to go up to 154. Meanwhile, Mayweather's a baby, like in terms of the weight limit, the weight that he's at. He at 140, talking about he's going to go up to 154. It's like if Shakur Stevenson said, you know what? I'm going to go up to 147 and fight Terrence Crawford. Everybody would be like, are you out of your mind? But guess what? That's what Floyd Mayweather did. So in my opinion, Floyd wanted these fights, but it takes two to tango. So, and that's why those fights weren't made. Let's see. 25% is wild if that's true. Yeah, that's what was coming out. 25%. Look, hey, I got it right here. 25% is what is being offered. Michael Benson has reported on it, and he's one of the premier inside sources. But yeah, Shakur Stevenson has stated that Devin Haney's offered him a 75-25 split to fight next, but he's rejected it. He says, I don't think I'm the A side. So he's acknowledging that he's not going to make more money than Devin Haney. He said, I don't think I'm the A side. I just know my worth, and 25% ain't it. Because, bro, even when they give contracts out to fighters to duck them, they still don't go as low as 25%. They really don't. They don't go as low as 25%. And even when they're like, yo, you're just a nobody, that you're a tune-up fight for that fight, they still don't give them 25%. But everybody's like, oh, no, Shakur should take it. He should take the 25%. If not, he's ducking. That was supposedly the first offer. Haven't heard nothing since. So they say that's the first offer. They're still negotiating. But I do not like that it's already out, because to me, that shows that somebody doesn't want this fight to happen, because we shouldn't be hearing about this. This happens all the time. Somebody will say, hey, look, 40%. And then somebody will come back and be like, no, bro. Come on now. Let's do 45%. Chill on that 40%. 35%. Nah, bro, you wilding now. Let's do 40. Okay, let's go back to the 40. That's negotiation. That's why it's called negotiation. It's not sign on the dotted line, right? Fight, negotiation, not fight, sign on the dotted line. There's a lot that goes in, but it happens behind the scenes. All that stuff happens behind the scenes. Right? We don't even know if that says a rematch clause only for Devin Haney, no rematch clause for Shakur. We don't know anything else about it. We just know that one thing. And you could politically duck somebody using a contract. You could definitely do that. Bob Arum did it when he said he didn't want to do the drug testing or whatever. That was a political duck. Right? And it made more sense, honestly, for them to make more money to not fight each other. As bad as that sounds, they made more money not fighting each other, because by the time they fought each other, the thing was massive. If they would have fought each other in 2010, the fight would have done like 2 million pay-per-view buys. The fact that they fought in 2015, where people were like salivating and just dying for the fight ended up doing the 4.3 million. And each individual fight they had before they finally fought made money, because people were anticipating both of them fighting each other. Had they fought in 2010, Floyd wasn't going to be making that million, and Manny Pacquiao wasn't going to be making the 800-something thousand in his fights with all these other fighters, because the intrigue was gone. The problem with boxing and the fans is that there's this disconnect between the business element and the fan element, right? There's this disconnect. It's unfortunate, but it's there. 25% to me is egregiously low. It's like one of the lowest offers I've ever seen, if not the lowest offer that I've ever seen. It's egregiously low. So to me, you could see this as they politically ducking via the contract. All right, let's switch over real quick. All right. Yeah, 25%, man, is true, man. Anthony Merchants, what's going on, brother? Adrian Dones says it's a priced out contract, but he gets the opportunity to be the king of the lightweight divisions. Yeah, hey, listen, Kambosos was a priced out contract, but Devin Haney wanted to be the undisputed champ, right? That opened a lot of doors for Devin Haney. But does Shakur have the same problems of doors opening that Devin Haney had before he fought Kambosos? I don't think so. The likes of Oscar Valdez, he was getting the fights he wanted. So they might be coming from a different perspective where Devin Haney was like a free agent. Devin Haney's hopping around as a free agent. He has very little wiggle room. Shakur is like the shining star for Top Rank. He has way more options behind the scenes. He's getting the fights he wants. He wanted the Jamel Herring fight. He got the fight. He wanted the Oscar Valdez fight. He got the fight. Devin Haney needed to say, okay, for me to be here, I have to accept something that's this low so that I could, which is 30%, and he's offering 25%, so that I could get my foot in the door. I don't know if Shakur has that same problem. I don't know if he has that same problem. Shakur versus Tank plays out like Floyd versus Judah minus the low blow circus show. That rhyme, by the way. Did you do that on purpose? Low blow circus show? Yeah, I don't see Tank stooping to Judah's low blow. I don't know if it. You know what? It could, but I don't. It's tough. Because Floyd had a lot of problems with Zab Judah. He had so much problem with Zab Judah, he wasn't shoulder rolling. He stopped shoulder rolling early. With the shoulder roll that he's famous for, now he went to the traditional guard. He said, let me go into the high guard. Let me just, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not catching him. I'm not figuring out his timing. I'm nothing. So what I'm going to do is when I feel the punch hit my arms, then I'm going to start figuring things out. So Zab Judah gave a lot of problems to Floyd. I don't know if it will happen that way because Zab Judah was throwing a lot of punches. I don't see Tank throwing a lot of punches. Tank is just not a throwing a lot of punches kind of guy. Is Tank being protected? I don't know if it's so much that he's being protected or that the focus for Tank is not to be the best in the world. The focus is to make the most money. And if that is the focus, they have done that in strides. If the focus for Tank is to make the most money, they've done that in strides. You can't tell me that their focus is to be the best if they're literally not even fighting anybody in the regular rankings to win the WBC. Devin Haney has all the belts at 135, guys. Was Tank ever in the conversation to get the belts? Shakur just got to 135 and he already wants the belts. Tank never even went there. He was never even talking about trying to get a Loma fight, a Devin Haney fight, or any of those guys up there. He was never trying to fight those guys up there. There was no talk of that. There would be little whispers here and there, but there was never anything concrete where he's like, I'm actually trying to go up there and fight these guys. So I don't know if it's so much that he's being protected or that the route for him is not to make the most money. The thing is that people always think that, like, because he's with Floyd or whatever, or the Floyd strategy or whatever, Floyd fought the best fighters in the world. Was Floyd ever undisputed? No. But that wasn't a thing back then. That wasn't a thing that you did back then. What you did to show that you were the best was you moved up in weight classes. Right? That was the biggest thing. Like, if you keep moving up in weight classes, that shows that you're the best. And that's what Floyd did a lot. He moved up. I think he moved up, 5 different weight classes. He won belts at 4 different weight classes. And he went for the official belts, the super belts. And he beat the likes of a De La Hoya, a Shane Mosley, a Miguel Cotto, a Ricky Hatton, right? A Carlos Baldomir at the time, Zab Judah. Right, so Manny Pacquiao, Canelo Alvarez. So he was fighting the best in the world and making money. He was doing both. Sometimes people just want to put him in a box like he was just making money or he was just being the best ever. He was doing both at the same time. While Tank, he's just making money. And there's no knock on him. It's not saying that he whack or whatever. I'm not saying that. I love his style and the way he fights and the way he constructs his knockouts. I think that's fantastic. But we can't pretend like he's fighting the best in the world. Now, Shakur is fighting the best in the world. Like, people want to be like, who has he fought just because he got to 135 just now? And they want to be like, who has he fought at 135? And it's like, yeah, but what happened at 130? No. Who has he fought at 135? He just got there. Yeah, but I want to know who he fought. He just got there. But everywhere he's been, he's fought for the official titles. Everywhere he's been. But now it's like, who has he fought? Like, people, this is the thing, man. Boxing is so political even with fans because fans have agendas. Fans have agenda. So they're going to they're going to use little things to like discredit a fighter because they're looking to discredit a fighter. So any little thing, they're going to use it. They're going to jump on top of it to discredit a fighter. All right, let me see. I got to catch up. I'm too far behind. Hold on. Let me try to catch up here. Let's see. Yeah, Mayweather versus Pacquiao would have been better for both of them if it was way earlier. But I think Bob Arum and always has been a problem when it comes to making fights people want. Yeah, but I don't know if it would have. I'm being very honest. Think about it. Think about it from an intrigue perspective. As a person, intrigued to see Floyd versus Manny. Now, I remember it like it was yesterday because this was one of like my favorite times during boxing era when I was, watching Floyd because I was like a Floyd super fan. Like, I even went to the Canelo versus Floyd fight in the MGM Grand. I did the whole trip. I did everything because I wanted to see Floyd live, and I wanted to see Floyd live versus Canelo. I was a super fan. I was like a super fan of Floyd Mayweather, right? So I really was following this, like every little thing. If Floyd would have fought Manny, the intrigue would have been gone. Everyone else he would have fought, it would have felt anticlimactic. It would have been like, okay, yeah, cool, you're fighting, Mosley, but you already fought Manny Pacquiao, so who cares about you fighting Mosley? But that's not how it felt because he hadn't fought Manny Pacquiao yet. Because it was like this climbing thing, this where the apex was him and Manny finally fight. So then we get to see him versus Mosley, and then we get to see Manny versus Mosley. And then we get to say, well, who fought better? And then that adds to the intrigue. Who's better? Who's better? Oh, Mayweather had problems with Ricky Hatton. Manny Pacquiao knocked Ricky Hatton out in like 3 rounds. Was Manny going to be better than Floyd? Like, or is this like a styles made fights kind of thing? Or like, what is this? Cotto, Manny like demolished Cotto. Mayweather's having a little bit more problems with Cotto. Is this a thing where, like Styles is making fight? He demolished Oscar De La Hoya. So there was intrigue in the fact that they weren't fighting each other. It sucks. We wanted it. But looking back, would we have cared about Floyd versus Robert Guerrero, Floyd versus Maidana, if he had already fought Manny Pacquiao? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Because Final Boss already happened. If you already did Final Boss, do you care about the level 3, villain boss when you already fought Final Boss? That's legitimate. That's a legitimate thing. Let's see here. That's disrespectful. Haney ain't no De La Hoya. This ain't the same situation. Nobody knows Haney. Shakur should avoid this offer. People know who don't really want the fight. People know who don't. Yeah, see, that like, I understand where you're coming from. I just don't know. Like the same way I can't really say that Shakur is ducking, even though part of me feels like it is because I'm thinking just fight him, right? But I'm thinking from a fan's perspective, I can't really say too that Devin Haney is the one that's doing it. All I can do is bring both perspectives in terms of this is a perspective of Shakur actually ducking him through the fans' perspective and everything like that. Here's a perspective of like 25% is one of the most ridiculous offers we've ever seen. And then there's the perspective of like Devin Haney offered him something, right? So he gave him an opportunity. And then there's also the perspective of, but he probably made that contract purposely so that he could say no, so that he could politically not have to fight him. So he could be like, look, he said no, we gave him a chance, we're moving on. That's a possibility, but 25% is just it reeks of political. I want him to say no, but then we could say that he said no and we said yes, kind of situation. It reeks of that, but I could be wrong. Maybe he really does feel you should only get 25% because I got 30 against Cambosis. So you should get less than him. I mean, less than me when I fought him. I don't know. And remember, even though people are saying Devin Haney had the belts, there was politics behind that. People were saying he didn't have the franchise belt. He had the regular belt, and the franchise belt was the real belt. So you could almost equate what's going on right now. Like, I don't know, man. It's tough. Haney is in a better position now than De La Hoya was in. No. Haney is not in a better position. And De La Hoya had all of the power. Like, all. Like, the belts didn't mean anything back then. You can't look at Undisputed now and just attach that to, if De La Hoya wasn't undisputed back then, so he didn't have power. De La Hoya had the most power. De La Hoya was essentially Canelo Alvarez back then. He was the Canelo Alvarez, probably more popular. He was probably more popular than Canelo. It's the equivalent of Canelo fighting. Devin Haney. If Devin Haney was to fight like a Canelo right now, that's the difference in power between Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather back then. Oscar had crazy power. Crazy financial power. Crazy negotiating power. You could not out-negotiate Oscar De La Hoya. You could only accept what Oscar De La Hoya gives you. Or you don't fight Oscar De La Hoya. And you risk ruining your career. Or not reaching the potential, the financial potential of your career. So, anyways, this was a super in-depth talk about contracts and how much we don't really know. I think that's always important. We're about to end the stream here, but I think it's important that as content creators, as analysts and people that talk about these things, it's fun to engage in it. But we don't really know anything. We don't know what the contracts look like. We don't know how negotiations work. We don't know. So to pretend like we do know, I think that's misleading in and of itself, even as content creators. Now, what I do know is I could look at two fights. I could see how fighters fight. I could see that and understand that. But we know such a surface level. Everybody. Such a surface level. Even Michael Benson. He only knows the surface. They tell him stuff. He don't really know how that thing is broken down and what goes into stuff like that. He doesn't know that. So for us to sit here and pretend like we know and he's ducking because 25% is good and we know that he's trying to, we don't know none of that stuff. We don't. And to say that we do is dishonest. What I do know is I want to see them fight. How we get there, I don't know. Hopefully, we can get there. Hopefully, at one point, we can get there. All right, guys, let me go ahead and end this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We hit episode 30. We made it, guys. Now we got to shoot for episode 50. So hit the like on your way out. We're shooting for episode 50. I'm having a blast doing these lives. It's fun to sit here and talk to you guys and get your perspective. Some of you guys think that Shakur did duck. Some of you guys think that Devin Haney's ducking. Some of you guys think that we just don't know. Like, I love the different perspectives. I don't want just one perspective. That's why this makes it fun for me. To be able to sit here and talk to you guys makes it fun for me because I get to see all the different perspectives and we get to bounce these like thoughts off of each other. I love it. So we will be live, of course, always Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern time for Boxing Fanatico Live. Episode 31 will be on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss it. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't hit the subscribe button because you'll be notified as soon as I go live. And you want to get in as early as possible because we are live from only 7 to 8 p.m. So you get that 1 hour, but if you want to be in there as long as possible, make sure you get here at 7 p.m. Eastern time as soon as we go live. All right, until the next one, guys, peace out. Have a good one. Thank you very much, guys.